Urban Artificial Intelligence, strategic thinking media platform. Charlie Kirk death. It went viral. He was assassinated recently in Utah, at Utah Valley University. And this death, this assassination, this shooting, whatever you want to call it, it's went viral for a couple of reasons, man. This was a polarizing figure, and the death of this guy, the assassination of this man, is kind of causing a split on the internet and actually in real life, as I'm seeing in the real world. In real world politics, man. I want y'all to get in the comments before I even get into it. I want y'all to answer this question for me. How many of y'all knew who this person was before his death? That's the question that I want to ask y'all before I go any further. How many of y'all knew who he was before he died? Because what I'm noticing on the internet, a lot of people who are chiming in and who are the most aggressive about things that are going on with him, they didn't even know who this man was before he died. A lot of y'all who are chiming in and who are saying things about his death, you didn't even know who the fuck this man was. So why you're so passionate about, rejoicing over him dying and you didn't even know who he was, I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand that. Maybe y'all can help me, man. I want y'all to get in the comments and let me know. Did y'all know who he was before he passed? Did y'all watch his content before he passed? A lot of y'all didn't. A lot of y'all didn't. Y'all just using this as an opportunity to do what everybody else is doing. All right. Some of y'all don't even know this man's job. Y'all don't even know what his actual job was. All right. Because believe it or not, he wasn't he wasn't an elected official. All right, he wasn't an elected official, so he's technically not even really a politician. He's basically just an influencer at this point. Now, later down the road in his career, that's what he was looking to do. That was his goal, was to become an elected official. But at this moment, at the moment of his passing, he was not even an official politician. So a lot of the rhetoric and a lot of the narratives that people are trying to paint is it's overkill, because he basically was just an influencer. And I don't mean to take anything away from his legacy. We're gonna get into a little bit of his personal life, but he is really just an influencer. All right, he's not an official politician because he's not an elected official. Charlie Kirk was assassinated at Utah Valley University. All right, now his killer was 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. His dad did turn him in. He has been captured by the police, so he's in police custody, and they're trying to find out a motive now. From what it looks like, it do look like this is something that was politically motivated. All right, it was some type of political uh agenda behind him dying, and RIP to him. I seen a lot of clips of this guy, and I don't agree with a lot of the things that he said, but do I think he deserved to die? No. But at the same time, the things that he was saying, the energy that he was moving with when things like this happen, you're not surprised. Not only are you not surprised, but the way that he talked, some of his talking points were kind of cutthroat. So now that he's gone and that he became a victim, it's not hard to see why people don't care. Now, again, I want to say RIP to him because he was a human being. He was a father. He was a husband. He was popular. He was known for public speaking, podcasting, and media appearances. Now, he was a conservative Republican. He was aligned with the right wing, and he spoke a lot on conservative issues. All right, he was pro-life. He supported President Trump. He was a longtime supporter and a good friend of President Trump. And he strongly reacted to liberals and Democrats. All right, so a lot of the times when he went out and he had these talks at these colleges and at these public places, he would bring up liberal and Democrat talking points, and he would just try to debate some of these things. And I'm sure that if you didn't know before, y'all are seeing clips of him going to these colleges, having these debates. He's talking about affirmative action, DEI. He's talking about, just he's talking about touchy subjects. Okay, so he's going to these places, he's going to these rallies, and just off the bat, he's talking about these touchy subjects that's gonna go viral and is gonna create a lot of attention. That's the type of person that he was. That's what he talked about on his podcast. He talked about touchy issues, touchy subjects. Now, I'm gonna be 100% real, man. Democrats, liberals, and black people are sensitive as a whole. All right, we're sensitive when it comes to politics, we're sensitive when it comes to race, which is the reason why I'm not a Democrat. Democrats and liberals always make it seem like race is the biggest issue in America, and Republicans do that with gun control, and they do that with abortion and things like that. So it's all these small little nitpicky topics that really aren't as important as people make it seem, and they turn them into kind of debates over culture and debates over character. All right, if you're pro-life, you know, you're supposedly better than people who are, pro-choice, and now let's debate and see who is, the more virtuous person. Let's debate and see who is a higher quality person. I bet you I have more points than you. All right. I never really agree with, politicians who base their whole rhetoric and who base their whole identity on just debating menial topics like that. And not to say that abortion are menial, but it's way bigger issues in America than abortions. All right, it's way bigger issues in America than DEI. It's way bigger issues in America than affirmative action. That's another thing. He talked about affirmative action a lot. To me, that's a triggering subject. All right, you go around the country touring college campuses and having debates, and you're talking about affirmative action to get people riled up, bro. That's why you're talking about it. All right, it's not that deep of a subject, really. You pick subjects like that to get people riled up because you want attention, because you want likes and views. There's nothing wrong with that. That was his job. That was his wheelhouse. That was his thing. That's what he done. And a lot of people would say that he's somebody who thrived on culture war debates. They said, and this is just people's opinion, they said that he spread misinformation and he fuels division. Now, I'm not going to say he spread misinformation, but his talking points definitely did fuel division. All right. Again, RIP to him. He was a father, he was a husband. We don't want to see people die for, speaking out their opinion. But when you have talking points and when you have speeches that fuel division, violence follows. All right, violence follows. That's just the way it is. It's always been like that. When you have this rhetoric of I'm better than you, my side over your side, if the other side shoots you, that's part of the game. And not to sound cold hearted or anything, I definitely didn't want this man to pass away, but that's kind of the field that he played on. Us versus you. He played on division. So if you play on division and you play and your whole shtick is dividing people, if somebody on the other side shoots a bullet at you, well, you know what? I mean, that's kind of how life goes, right? But I want y'all to get in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about this. Now, he was also a co-founder of Turning Point USA, which is a youth-oriented conservative organization. So a lot of young conservative and young Republicans looked up to him. They felt like he was on the same path as Donald Trump. Again, he was a good close friend of Donald Trump, big time supporter of Donald Trump. Donald Trump spoke very highly of him, and they kind of had the same type of ideals, man. And it seemed to me that he was just he was a popular influencer. I think calling him a politician at this point would be okay because he's passed away and because he passed in such a political heat that it was politically motivated why he passed away. But again, he was not an elected official. I'm gonna say that again. He was not an elected official. This man was not a politician. He started an organization. He had a podcast, and he went to different parts of the country and he did speeches about the things that he believed in. Again, he was not an elected official. He was not a politician. Okay, this guy is an influencer. All right, and it's sad to think that an influencer can be shot and by a sniper over his political alignments. But that is what happened. This was not a politician. This was an influencer. You could say political activist. We could even go as far as to say that. We could say he was a political activist. Maybe that fits the term. Maybe that term fits what he did better. Now, another reason that people are kind of celebrating his death, which I don't think is right. I don't think, celebrate his death is right. He spoke on Martin Luther King a lot. All right. In several clips of him speaking on Martin Luther King, in my opinion, this is rage baiting. All right. He was going out of his way to speak on Martin Luther King. He's going out of his way to talk about the civil rights movement. This is a guy that's 31 years old, y'all. He was not around nowhere near the time Martin Luther King was. His whole rhetoric and his whole angle, he could get his shit off without bringing up Martin Luther King. He don't have to talk about the civil rights movement, okay? When you talk about something like the civil rights movement, something that's so beloved and is heavily documented as being a good thing. Most people will tell you the civil rights movement was a good thing. When you have people talking down on that movement, you're gonna create enemies, all right? You're gonna put a target on your back, no pun intended. You're going to make people not like you. There are many clips of him going out of his way to kind of diminish the legacy of Martin Luther King. When you do that, bad energy is going to come behind that. All right. That's common sense. That's common sense. If I walk around talking about how bad George Washington was, even though that's a little bit different from Martin Luther King, if I go around talking about how bad George Washington was and how the founding fathers, how they weren't really as smart as people think, or they weren't as effective as people think, it's going to be a group of people who resent me for that, and I know that. All right, so when they pop out and get active, I should be ready. All right, if I'm just in la la land, some bad might happen. Something bad might happen. People love Martin Luther King. People look at the civil rights movement as one of the best things to ever happen in American history, especially people of color, especially Democrats, especially liberals. It's a certain place in their heart for the civil rights movement. There are museums and documentaries and books and everything that you want to talk about under the sun devoted to the civil rights movement. So if you go on a tour talking about how it was a waste of time, you gotta pay attention. You gotta be ready for somebody to pop out with a weapon. All right, you gotta have your head on a swivel. Okay, you can't say things like this and then just walk around with your head in the clouds. All right, you gotta pay attention when you talk shit like that. It's also clips of him talking about how he doesn't like having empathy. It was clips of him talking about how somebody's life will have to be sacrificed in order for gun laws to be upheld. This is an ironic clip, and this is another clip that a lot of people are playing. A lot of the people who are celebrating him passing away. Again, I don't think it's right to celebrate this man passing away. I think that's wrong. I don't think he deserved to die. But a lot of the things that he said, he brought that energy on himself. I think he went out of his way to be annoying. All right, he did. He went out of his way to be annoying. He went out of his way to be disrespectful. A lot of the things that he's saying, he's intentionally being disrespectful. He seems like he's a well-spoken person. He seems like he knows a lot of words. He seems like he can be articulate when he wants to be. A lot of clips that we see of him, a lot of episodes of his podcast, he's being disrespectful on purpose to cause shock value. And there's nothing wrong with that because, again, he's an influencer. So that's his job. But like I said, when you talk like that, you got to be ready for people to retaliate. Am I saying he should have known that somebody wanted to kill him? No. But when you cause division and you go around race baiting, you got to be prepared for the other side. You're causing division. So just how when you come to a venue, it's people there on your side and there's people there who like you, when you base your whole platform on rage baiting and division, you got to expect the other side to be there too. All right. And in this situation, the other side was more aggressive than his side. And hey, again, RIP to him. Hopefully he's in a better place. But what I don't like is seeing people online celebrating this man's death, seeing people online bash him. I don't think that's necessary because, again, a lot of y'all didn't even know who this man was 24 hours before he passed. If he walked past y'all, if he looked y'all right in the face, y'all wouldn't even know who he was. So to get on the internet and start celebrating his death is kind of disingenuous. And as black people, I'm obviously black, as somebody who is, I see liberals and Democrats all the time. They're in my family. That's just, black people fall on that side of the coin most of the time. We've got to stop using politics as just a way to, kind of have a aha, I told you so type of moment. Because I see people celebrate his death who I've never seen talk politics before. They've never spoke about politics before, but they're getting online celebrating this man's death, man. Educate yourself on politics as a whole. All right. Don't just use this as a moment to mock this person dying because there's a bunch of viral clips of him saying stuff that you don't agree with. Really understand politics, really learn why people feel the way they do. All right. Democrats, black people, liberals, we're sensitive. We got to stop being so sensitive, man. If he say that he don't feel like Martin Luther King was as effective as history holds him to, that's his opinion. That doesn't mean, we can celebrate him dying, all right? Because a lot of people, again, that I see on my timeline, I ain't never seen them talk about politics. They don't really know about politics. They didn't know who he was. They didn't even know what he did. And again, if you're calling him a politician, you don't know enough because he wasn't a politician. All right? He was just an influencer. But I want y'all to get in the comments, man. Let me know what y'all think about this. All right. Is this situation tearing the country apart? I'm seeing rallies talking about protect white men, and that's fine. White men should be protected, but let's also remember a white man killed him. Okay. So let's not make it really about race. If you want to, you can, but make sure that you protect white men from other white men. End the chance with that. Don't just say protect white men because a white man is the person who kills him. It wasn't a black man. It wasn't a Hispanic man. It wasn't an illegal immigrant. It was another white man who is from Utah. All right. So protect white men from other white men. Urban Artificial Intelligence, Strategic Thinking Media Platform. I'm going to see y'all in the next episode. Peace.